Hey, everybody. I'm Chuck Freeman, and welcome to Locked On Brewers, your source for Brewers baseball every day. All the information you need right here on Locked On Brewers. A 10-game road trip coming up for the local nine, and they go in after taking 2 of 3 from the St. Louis Cardinals. We'll talk about that, talk about the Easter Sunday game, and look ahead to the West Coast road trip next here on Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome to the Locked On Brewers. I'm your host, Chuck Freeman. Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Network, and we are your first turn to every day. It's the most popular podcast as far as Brewers is concerned on the internet today, and we cover the Brewers on a daily basis. I've been covering the Brewers for 40 years. I work for WIBA Radio in Madison, and also been covering the Brewers for AP Radio. I was out there as a fan today. It was great sitting in the stands, soaking up the sun. We'll talk about that here in a little bit as well. Again, I've been covering the team, living in Wisconsin all my life, and if you're just joining us right now, I appreciate you coming in. Drop us a note on Twitter. If you're watching us on YouTube, you see where I am on Chuck Freeman, Chuck F-R-E-I-M-U-N. Drop us a note on YouTube. Please subscribe to YouTube. Hit the little bell there. That'll alert you every time we drop an episode so you don't miss anything on our weekdays and our weekend coverage right here. Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. All right. How about that today? The Brewers bounce back after just a clunker of a game on Saturday night. They didn't look well. Nothing was there. They had 5 hits. They came back. It was like, okay, how are they going to bounce back? Is this going to lead to a little bit of a lull now for the Brewers? Wasn't the case. Solid pitching from Freddy, timely base hits. Yelich gets back on track, and a 6-1 win over the St. Louis Cardinals. And of course, the bullpen, the bullpen who many of us, including me, have always wondered how good this bullpen is going to be throughout the season. The bullpen has been just fantastic. We're going to start with Freddy, though. Freddy Peralta was throwing fastballs today that apparently he hasn't thrown this much 95-mile-an-hour heat consistently in a game, that many 95-mile-an-hour fastballs in a game in his short career so far. He was getting up to 98 a couple of times on the gun today, and that was fun to watch. Got out of an early jam, but Freddy, second great outing out of him, 6 innings and 4 hits. So if you can get this from Freddy and you can get this from Woodruff, get Burns on track, you look at those 3, and how can you not be one of the favorites in this division? And I know it's 7-2, 9 games, but I looked at the 2 teams today, the Brewers and Cardinals, and I'm thinking, the Brewers don't have to take a backseat to these guys. Everybody's picking the Cardinals. They don't. And maybe I'm drinking into the Brewer Kool-Aid and I'm fooling myself a little bit, but we didn't expect the bullpen to be this good. 23 1/3 innings of scoreless baseball so far. We knew what Devin Williams was going to be all about. But these guys, when they do get themselves in a little bit of jam, they pick each other up or they pick themselves up. But the bullpen, no one thought this was going to be the case. Now, either this bullpen is better than we thought, or it's early, or they're just riding the crest of a wave of success here for this team early on. We've been down this road before where this team has had great starts and bad finishes and are left out of the playoffs. But I'm going to enjoy this 7-2 start, best record in the National League. So we talked to you about Freddy. And how about the rest of that bullpen? Peter Strzelecki, another scoreless inning today. One gives up 1 hit. Matt Bush, Brewers had a 6-1 lead at this point. Bases loaded against Bush, nobody out. He gets the next 2 outs, and Milner strikes out the final batter in that inning to douse any thoughts of the Cardinals coming back from a 5-run deficit. And then Devin Williams, though, work in the end just to get some throwing in because he hadn't been used, pitched an inning and struck out 1. But again, Strzelecki, Bush, Milner, and Williams all in support of Peralta. That bullpen has just been fantastic. And, the Brewers ended up winning the game and taking 2 of 3 from the St. Louis Cardinals. Beautiful day to be out the ballpark today. And Christian Yelich, who's been taking a lot of heat. We talked the other night. Should Christian move down in the batting order? But 3 hits, his first home run. I looked up the scoreboard right before that first home run, and I saw 40 plate appearances, no homers. And I just shook my head, and there it went. Right to the spot I was just looking at. Yelich hitting his first home run, the straightaway center field. So that gets him on the board. And yeah, is that going to turn him around? I don't know. One game. All right. We've been there before with Yelich. Let it play out a little bit, see how he does on this West Coast road trip. But I was encouraged by what he did today. And, this opposite base hits, the 2 opposite field singles. That's what we're expecting out of Yelich. Driving the ball. Somebody did note 9 straight games he's reached base. All 9 of these games he has reached base so far. So that is good. Willy Adames, 3 hits, including his second home run of the year. Willy's going to bring it. And it was great to see him getting 3 hits, big 2-run base hit early in the game, got the Brewers on the board, and the Brewers went on to win. And so far so good with this team. Enjoyed being out there today. Beautiful day. 27,000 out at AmFam Field today. Now, I think that's just fantastic. You have 27,000. You're not giving anything away. It's Easter Sunday. Your team has never won a World Series title. You've been to one World Series. You're one of the most disappointing franchises in sports history. Yet, you guys out there just continue to support this team year in, year out. You had 43,000 the night before for Giannis jersey night. And then you come back the next night. They're not giving away anything, which obviously entices people to go to games. And you draw 27,000. Beautiful day on Easter Sunday. I know the Cardinals were in town. You had a lot of Cardinal fans, but man, that was great. That was great. Where else? Hey, you know what? How many cities could you name right now where you look at it and the history of the Milwaukee Brewers? There are franchises that have better history than the Brewers in the last 54 years that wouldn't draw 16, 15, 16, 18,000 on a day like today. But Sun Splash Day, the roof was out. I was not covering the game. I was sitting in the stands with my kid. Sat in section 209. Beautiful day with the roof open. There's been some times when that roof has not opened until June. It's been so lousy around these parts in April and May sometimes, and last week it was terrible, that we haven't been able to open up that roof until June. And here we are, first homestand, about a near 70-degree day. And it's too bad they're not going to be home next week. They're going to be on a West Coast road trip because we have 70-degree temperatures all week, maybe even touching 80 on Wednesday in the Milwaukee area. So it was great to be out there. Took the shuttle in with me and my 11-year-old. Got an autograph from Corbin Burns. I know he was really excited about that. Got the Corbin was on the side there on the rail, signing some autographs. He went down there and got a few Brewers autographs, just like when I was a kid back in the 70s, going next to the Brewer dugout and trying to get the Molitors and the Younts and the Don Moneys and the Bill Sharps autographs and Jim Gantner, guys like that coming by. And they were always willing to oblige. Henry Aaron, not so much, but the rest of the guys, George Scott, not so much. Cecil Cooper, not so much, but the other guys, for the most, Jerry Augustine always signed. You go right down the list of that whole team. Vukovich, Gorman, my kid got Gorman was signing autographs out there today. And that was good to see. I reminded Gorman of the 45 homers he had in 1979 today, and that he struck out 4 times on opening day. He had a laugh over it 4 times on opening day in 1978. Had a little laugh at it, but he told the story about how Bamberger told him after the game, "Hey, I'm running you right back out there the next day." And sure enough, he did. And Gorman went on to have, of course, a big year in 1978. But Gorman was signing autographs today. Yeah, took the shuttle in, had a few hot dogs and pizzas. Of course, when you eat, we were going to grab something to eat on the way down to the ballpark. But, of course, it's Easter and everything is closed. So the hot dogs and the pizza, I'll have to refinance my house as a result of that after my credit card probably got maxed out today buying food at AmFam Field today. So bottom line is the Brewers are 7-2, best record in the National League, and I'm loving this. I don't know if this is a fluke. I don't know how good they're going to be if they're going to keep on doing this, but I'll take this fast start from the Milwaukee Brewers. Today's show is brought to you in part by terrific sponsors, including FanDuel. The Brewers were an underdog today. No, they were favored. Last night they were the underdog. Today they were about a 150 favorite with Peralta on the hill. And they should be. And the auction case, a buddy of mine called me before the game because the Brewers had lost the previous night. He said, maybe this is where the Brewers start to slide. I said, I don't know. I can't tell you, but I wouldn't bet against them. I wouldn't bet on them, and I wouldn't bet against them. But last week when they're riding hot, you always bet the Brewers when they're riding hot, or any of our sports teams in the state of Wisconsin. But I said, I don't know. So if he bet against them, he was wrong once again. But the NBA playoffs right around the corner, and now's the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. Bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, super easy to use. Then you can bet on everything from money lines to point scorers, threes drain, MLB. Plus, FanDuel lets you combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with a thing called same-game parlays. Don't miss your chance to win out on a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you go to FanDuel.com/LockedOn, LOCKEDON. That's FanDuel.com, Locked On to learn more. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers. And again, follow me on Twitter, Chuck Freeman. Right there, if you're watching it on YouTube, you see the crawl right there. And appreciate all the great comments. I was walking around the stadium today. Did not get a chance to go up to the ceiling experience. We got there a little late and didn't have a chance to go to the ceiling experience. That's one of the few times that I haven't. Just remember that right now. We didn't have time to go to the ceiling experience. So, but certainly enjoyed the day out at the ballpark on Divorced Dad's Day with my 11-year-old today. So, we're going to go through the box score real quick on the Brewers. Christian Yelich, 3 for 5, the home run, got that first one on the board today. Jesse Winker went 1 for 3. Willy Adames, the home run, 2-run single early on, 3 for 4, 2-run double, I should say. Rowdy Tellez went 1 for 4. Contreras went 2 for 4. Garrett Mitchell went 0 for 4. Anderson went 0 for 3. Terang 1 for 4. Weimer went 0 for 3. Some of those young guys are coming down to life a little bit. Saw a lot of Terang 0 jerseys around the ballpark today. I thought that was cool. Already people are getting the Terang jerseys out. So I thought that was pretty cool. The Brewers timely hitting, and their bullpen, as I was talking about earlier here on the podcast, their bullpen just came through when you needed to, helping each other out. Strzelecki, Bush got out of that big jam with the help of Milner. Williams pitched a scoreless inning in mop-up duty toward the in the 9th inning. But yeah, the Cardinals had a couple of chances to do some damage in this game, including one with Arenado, guys on base, and Arenado went down swinging. A few times I can remember that the Brewers pitching staff struck out a Cardinal to finish off an inning. And we're talking about a Cardinal team that had been on fire offensively coming into this series, but the Brewer pitching did a number on them today and on Friday night as well. So that was good to see. But I'll tell you what, Miller Park is fantastic, but when you can go in there in April and the roof is open on a day like that in the state of Wisconsin, it's the kind of days that we live through in the state, because God knows we have some lousy weather days in the state of Wisconsin. But to have one of those kind of weather days, that was a thing of beauty. So the Brewers do go on a West Coast trip right now, a 10-game road trip in 10 days, no days off on this West Coast road trip. And they'll face Zach Gallen for Arizona in a first of 3 with the Diamondbacks coming up on Monday night. We're going to be here late night for the next week and a half doing this. So usually it's better. I like it better when there's West Coast road trips in the summertime. But they hit them early this year, a 10-gamer right off the bat here. First road trip of the year, 2 night games in Arizona, 8:40 starts, followed by an afternoon game, 2:40 on Wednesday. And then they go Thursday to San Diego, an 8:40 start, Friday an 8:40 start, Saturday afternoon, a 3:05 start in San Diego, Sunday a 3:10 start, and the next week, Monday and Tuesday in Seattle, 8:40 starts, and then a 3 o'clock start next Thursday to finish off the road trip, a 3:10 start. So Arizona, San Diego, and Seattle, this West Coast swing for the Brewers. And they're facing Zach Gallen on Monday. And Arizona has been pretty good. They just took 3 straight after dropping the opener against the Dodgers. They just took 3 straight against the Dodgers. 3 straight. They're offensively, they're really cooking. But Zach Gallen, their starting pitcher Monday night, he has not been well. Both starts so far this year, he has been lousy, really lousy. In fact, some people are thinking that with the pitch clock out there, that he's being distracted and it's throwing him out of his rhythm. And that's been one of the reasons why Zach Gallen, who finished 5th in the Cy Young last year, has not been very good. We'll see how that plays out on Monday night, but his first 2 starts for Arizona have not been good. Wade Miley, who pitched very well in his first outing last week, makes the start for Milwaukee. The show is brought to you in part by So Rare, a new sponsor here on Locked On, a revolutionary fantasy baseball game and marketplace transforming fans into owners with officially licensed digital cards featuring players from across all 30 MLB teams. So Rare managers truly own their own fantasy experience, collecting, buying, selling, competing with player cards against global opponents to win epic awards. Win or lose, you still own your own cards and there's no cost to play. Plus, the more you win, the more you advance in collecting more powerful cards and accessing next level competitions and rewards. MLB game weeks happen twice weekly, a span of 3 or 4 days. At the end of the game weeks, MLB managers who rank near or the top of their leaderboards have a chance at getting merchandise, game tickets, signed jerseys, VIP experience. So go to So Rare right now, sorare.com/lockedon. That's So Rare, SORARE.com /locked on. Draft your team of free player cards, set your lineup, start competing today to win epic awards. Again, that's So Rare /locked-on to start playing today. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers. As I mentioned, this 10-game road trip Tuesday, the Brewers, let's see who the Brewers send out. Corbin Burns comes back out on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, the afternoon game in Arizona, Brandon Woodruff makes his 3rd start of the year. But just keep this thing riding. Are the Brewers one of the best teams in baseball? How are they going to move? I do look at those, not only the standings. Not only the standings do I like to look at, but the power rankings, which come out on a Sunday. See how teams where CBS, where ESPN, where MLB has them in the power rankings. I know they were right around 12th last week. I imagine they'll move up, but are they one of the top 3 or 4 teams in baseball right now? That's got to play out. I think it's too early. In fact, I know it's too early on the power rankings as well, but it's just always interesting to look to see what the rest of Major League Baseball, because everybody's talking right now about Tampa and their unbeaten start right now, and so they should. And of course, Easter Sunday at AmFam Field, they showed a little video on TV, and I'm sure they showed it on the screen, and I'm sure they showed it on TV of the Easter Sunday 1987 game that the Brewers rallied to win to start the season in '87 off 12-0. But Tampa going down that road, they improved their record to 9-0 with a blowout win today. They've been blowing out all the teams they've been playing so far. So maybe go to FanDuel and start riding that Rays bandwagon a little bit the way they've been playing. So, all right, that's going to do it for tonight. Again, thanks to everybody who said hello today as we walked around the stadium before the game and went out and got some concessions and all that. A lot of you talked to me today, enjoyed the podcast, and we're going to keep bringing these, and it's been fun, especially when the team is winning. Hey, you know what? There's going to be some down times with this team. You know what? It could happen this week. They're going to go through some funks. They're going to struggle. There's going to be times that bullpen can't get out of its way. There's going to be certain times when some of those rookies are going to do the same, but you hope the veterans are going to pick them up. So it's baseball. That the games like Saturday night are going to happen, but you only hope that it doesn't extend too long and you bounce back like you did today. And a magnificent win. Well, thanks for making Locked On Brewers your first listen to every day. We try to drop these overnights and then late night on the video side on YouTube. But if you want to know more about fantasy baseball, these guys are the fantasy experts. They bring you the best fantasy draft strategies. Find Locked On Fantasy Baseball wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks to all our great sponsors, and thanks for tuning in and making Locked On Brewers your first listen to every day. I'm Chuck Freeman. West Coast road trip. We'll talk to you tomorrow night, late night, after the game in Arizona. So long, everybody.